Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. For those that are new, my name is Nelly. Today, we're going to be talking about keeping purity during courtship. This is a very difficult topic, but we're going to discuss it anyway. You know, when it comes to courtship, it's about two people with intentions of getting married. It's not a try and error thing. It's about you deciding that you want to get married. If you're not too sure that you want to get married to this person, if you're not too sure that this is the one, then don't get into courtship. Don't get into courtship. It's not about trying if, okay, we'll get into courtship. If this is not the right person, I'm not going to get married to them. Courtship is also about conviction, that you're clearly sure that this is the person that you want to get married to. Your heart will know that this is the right partner. If you have doubts, or maybe you don't have peace, then maybe your heart is telling you, just wait a bit. This is when you have to keep your purity as well. It's very important to discuss sex in courtship, to know your partner's view when it comes to sex. It's not about discussing what turns you on or maybe which position do you prefer best. It's not about that. You need to discuss sex in order to know that are you both connecting. But in the process, just make sure when you discuss this topic, you're not alone. It's about also getting to know any issues that will come by when you're married. Maybe your partner will tell you that I prefer having sex with other two women and we just have an open sex relationship. And you don't want to do that. I mean, really? No. If you feel you're not comfortable in bringing a third person into your sex life, just because you're married to him, it doesn't mean you need to agree on that. So these are the things that you might want to discuss, and other things as well that you would know if you're comfortable with that or not. It's also very important that you both have self-control. You don't cross the line and have those boundaries when it comes to keeping it pure. It's just about self-control. If that person that you are courting with has got no self-control, then it becomes an issue because you'll find yourself sinning against God. And once you start sinning and having sex before marriage, you both become guilty at first. And you eventually get used to it and it becomes normal. And you're no longer keeping your purity during courtship. So that is why self-control is very important. When you know that you're wrong and you keep sinning anyway, you keep doing it, you're deliberately turning God away. You know that you're sinning and you keep doing it anyway. Those physical boundaries that were both important to you, you no longer respect. Even though your intentions were not to be physically in contact with each other until you get married. But you've both broken this promise. This can be difficult if you don't have boundaries from the beginning. You need to set boundaries from the beginning, how you're going to go about keeping your purity during courtship. There's some tips that I can give you if you're struggling to keep those boundaries during courtship. The first tip is you need to avoid being in a place where it's just you and your partner. A place where you can find yourself or in a situation where you're both tempted. I'm sure you know what I mean. This tip is just self-explanatory. You can still be in a public place but have that privacy. You need to try and walk in the spirit and ask God to help you. It's so difficult to be not around a person that you love so much, especially if your love language is touching. It's so difficult, and we've all made a mistake. If you sin, just ask God to forgive you and start all over again. You don't want to find yourself lusting over your partner. If you're able to wait until you get married, then that's a good sign. When you're attracted to one another, you won't resist temptation. Temptation will come all the time, especially if no one is around and it's just the two of you. That is why you need to avoid places where it's just the two of you and you can be tempted. And don't put yourself in that situation and think that you can be strong enough to resist temptation. If you lack self-control and you know that you don't have control over yourself, then don't place yourself in a situation where temptation flows. Avoid those late night movie couches. I know you could be watching a movie, but bring your friends along as well so that you don't find yourself being tempted. Don't make it easy for the enemy because he will do anything to make sure that you sin. It's easy to justify to yourself, especially when society condones and promotes premarital sex as something that's normal. The enemy will make sure that he makes you feel like it's okay. After all, it's just sex anyway. Everyone does it. Pursuing purity may be the hardest thing that you can face in a relationship, but it has the most rewarding effect. And the next tip is to try to keep busy. You won't give the enemy that chance to keep thinking on lusting over him because you're busy. You won't expose yourself with anything that will cause you to sin in the long run. When you have too much time to yourself, you lose focus and you become bored, and you find yourself maybe hanging around with wrong friends. Sometimes you find yourself exposing yourself to things like porn and masturbation just because you want to satisfy your body and your lust issues. This is like feeding your mind with spiritual poison. Your mind will be fighting with your flesh, and it will be difficult to get it out of your mind. You need to keep your mind occupied with other things besides sex. I know it's not easy, but you can do it. Especially if you've had sex before. If you haven't had sex before, then you can keep your mind occupied with other things. Jesus made it clear that our sexual integrity isn't just about the body, but also what we feed our minds as well. It's normal to be tempted. I'm not going to lie to you. Even Jesus was tempted. But the difference is he was tempted with food, not with sex. So it's very normal to be tempted. At times you have to keep those thoughts out, especially when lust thoughts comes into your mind. Try and keep yourself pure while you're in courtship, because sin begins in the mind, followed by lust. This is what got David into sin as well. It started in his mind, then it was followed by lust. So you can avoid that. Even though you can both tell yourselves you're going to be married in the next few months. Let's just do it anyway. Let's just go ahead anyway. It does matter. Well, you are going to be married, but you're not yet married. Yes, you're going to be married in the next few months, but what if you don't? So it does matter whether you're going to have sex now or in a few months later. What if for some reason you don't get married to this person? Some weddings do get cancelled just before the wedding day. So that is why you need to avoid finding yourself in that situation. Even though you feel like this person you're in courtship with is going to be your husband later, rather save yourself from not being connected spiritually with somebody that you're not going to spend the rest of your life with. Life is about waiting for the right moments and the right time with the right person. Ask God to lead you while you wait. And the next tip is you have to save yourself for the right person. Once two Christians become committed to themselves that they're going to be husband and wife and get married, they're also committing themselves to God that they will fulfill God's purpose. The person that you're going to marry must have a purpose why they want to get married to you. Get to ask them as well, why did they choose you to become their wife? Then you'll understand God's purpose for you and this person that you're in courtship with. Once you get to understand their purpose. As humans, we always sin against God. That is why it's important to have sex with the right partner. You need to understand that the person that you have chosen is someone that you're going to have that bonding experience with. Somebody that you're going to literally become one flesh. You don't want to keep bonding with people that are not going to be part of your life or even part of your future. Sex is beautiful once it's shared with the right person at the right time. You need to wait for that right time and keep yourself pure while you're in courtship. A man that's willing to have those sinful experiences before they even get married is not likely to stop once the married bed becomes an option. I guess when it comes to sexual purity in courtship is also a test to see that are you able to avoid temptations when they come back. So ladies, if your fiancé is leading you the way that honors the Lord during courtship, you should strongly consider that that will be the direction that will lead you during marriage. So think about it, even though this decision is taken by two people. Two people have to make that decision whether they want to keep pure or they don't. Because women cannot do it by themselves. A man is needed. That is why this decision requires two adults of different sex. So you can walk away from sinning if it doesn't honor God. And scripture says in James 4 verse 7, we can resist the devil and he will flee from us. The Bible also makes it clear that when it comes to sex is a gift for married couples. So when it comes to courtship and you're having sex before marriage, it's like opening a gift before time. By the time you open that gift, you're not looking forward because you know what to expect. So don't open your gift before it's a time. Sex is not evil. Having sex outside marriage is. But of course, these days it's just a normal thing to do. People no longer even feel guilty having sex before marriage. However, if you've broken the sex rule before marriage, God will not judge you. Just ask for forgiveness from Him and He will forgive you.